Thank you all so much for being here. I would just like to start with a check-in. If folks could just kind of go around and introduce yourself, maybe say how long you've been with CASA, and just anything you want to share either about yourself or your case, or if you're off of a case, your last case, or just anything you want to share about your time with CASA. I would love to hear that. I'll start. So as you know, I'm your team lead. I've been with CASA for about 2.5 years. I started off with CASA as a volunteer, and I loved it so much that when I found out they were hiring, I asked them to hire me, and they did. And I am supervising. I had a bunch of cases closed recently for whatever reason. So I'm supervising probably like 25 cases, and I have my own starfish case that closed just yesterday. So I was working with a 17-year-old for the last 6 months while she was on probation. And she's asked to stay in touch with me, and I'm going to be helping her with her FAFSA applications. She's really wanting to go to college, and she's just a wonderful young lady, and I've had the joy of just being able to spend time with her. So that's what I'll share today, and I will pass it to Kathleen.
Great. Hi, my name's Kathleen. I graduated from the newest CASA class, so we were sworn in this summer. So I've had my case for about 4 months now, and it's an awesome teenage boy in residential treatment right now out in Mount Juliet, and so I've just been trying to visit him a few times a month. And we've really got along great. He's such an awesome kid, and things are moving in the right direction. He's doing really well and leveling up in his treatment, and hoping to get him some foster placement, maybe some visits with mom. We have court next week, which will be my first time going physically to court with him. So yeah, it's been great. He's a great kid, and I'm excited to be able to communicate with him more when he's out of the treatment center. So
awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. So the folks that just joined, we're just sharing about ourselves, how long we've been with CASA, or just anything you want to share about your time with CASA or your case. And I'm just going to go with the order on the screen. Philip, if you could share.
I've been with CASA for about 4 years, but only on one case. It lasted quite a while and just finished up. The boys went back with their mother. So I'm looking forward to hearing a new case.
Thank you. Ms. Caldwell?
This is Constance Caldwell. I have been with CASA for about 16 years now. I currently am on one case that I've had for probably about 1.5 years now. But it seems to be going well as far as the child is concerned. He is 17 years old. He's on the autism spectrum, but he is with a family that really is supporting him and is willing to allow him to stay with them once he has aged out of the system. He will be graduating, hopefully, from high school next year. So we're trying to get him pumped up about that and to get him ready. Yeah, he really wants to get a job. So we're going to be working with him on that. But otherwise, he seems to be doing well right now.
Thank you so much. Constance has been on a campaign to get him his ID card, and it looks like it's happening. All you had to do was send an email a week for the last 6 months to make that happen. I appreciate that. And I will pass it to Taylor. We're sharing our name, how long we've been with CASA, and just anything you want to share about your case or your time with CASA.
Okay. I'm Taylor Mobley. I have been with CASA. I believe my orientation was October 2020. And I got my case in January 2021. Just went to an FCRB yesterday, and it sounds like we're getting closer and closer to the case closing. It definitely didn't go how we thought it would, but here we are. So she's on a trial home visit right now, and it seems to be going well. So I know I'm really hoping because she deserves it. She's a sweet kid. She's very smart. Too smart. um, but yeah, so I think we're coming to an end, hopefully. So
That's great to hear. I saw Taylor in court yesterday and didn't have time to talk, but I really wanted to know how that went. So I'm glad to hear that.
yes, it went well. Also, if there's ever a food truck out there, what is did you catch the name of it? Everything, I don't know, something, but it's a nonprofit food truck, and he gave a little bag to her that has some cool stuff in it. So if they ever see that, make sure you take your kid over there. So
That's awesome. I'll pass it to Parker.
I didn't, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I guess I was muted and I didn't realize it. I've been with CASA about 4 years. Right now, I don't have a case. Philip and I were involved in the last case where they went back to the mother, and I hope that's working out. I'm not terribly optimistic that it would, but maybe I'm just wrong. But anyway, I don't have a case now, but I expect to get one in December. I'm sure Sara won't forget me.
I'm sure I will not. Thank you for sharing. And Kaylee, you're up.
Kaylee Roscoe. I've been with CASA for about 1.5 years. I have a case. There's 3 kiddos. They're in 2 different, they're with 2 different foster families. And for a while, it seemed to be going really well and really smoothly. And then we hit quite a bump in the road. Last month, one of my kiddos had a pretty severe mental health crisis, and just through like some conversations with different people, uncovered some concerns that we weren't aware of. So what seemed to feel like pretty solid placements are now feeling a little less solid and secure. So yeah, just a little frustrated with how long things are taking. And this seems to be a case where maybe everybody felt we were in pretty solid grounding, and so things took a little while longer, and so now that things are starting to come to a head, it's just really frustrating with how long the process seems to be taking in some cases. So but happy to report all of the kiddos are safe and sound, which is good. And the oldest one is doing really well. He has discovered a passion with ROTC, and his face just lights up. I had my an in-person visit with him last week, and it was just so refreshing to see how well he's doing in his placement, and to just see his face light up. I stayed for 1.5 hours because he wouldn't stop talking, which was just so amazing, because when we first started, he would barely say anything. So even though like there's some rockiness, like there's definite growth and huge things to be thankful for and to be grateful for too. So yeah.
Wonderful. Ups and downs. And I hear you with the frustration of how long things are taking. I think everyone's feeling that. Folks that just joined, we're just sharing our name, how long we've been with CASA, and a little bit about our case or your last case, or just anything you want to share about your time with CASA. And Haley, you're up.
Hi. I was in Kathleen's cohort, so I also just finished training in spring of this year, and then got matched to 2 kiddos, like a 4 or 5-year-old and then like a toddler. They were with a really great foster family who actually applied for adoption because there were no good family options for them. And so that case ended up moving to circuit court, which means that CASA doesn't follow them anymore, which is a little sad to see them go, since I won't be able to follow up with them really. But I think they're off to much bigger and better things, definitely for that family. So I'm grateful that they got to have like hopefully a happy ending in the very, very near future. And I'm actually pregnant right now, so I'm holding off on picking up any new cases until after we kind of get settled in. But I'm hoping to jump back in once I have a better idea of how much time I'll have with all that.
Well, congratulations again. Super happy for you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're expecting twins, so wish us luck.
Oh my,
Oh my gosh. Haley, you're a pediatrician, correct?
Yes, I am.
You're made for this.
Yeah, they're our first ones though, so it's gonna be a steep learning
Wow.
curve.
Do you know the gender?
Yeah, 2 boys. So
Wow.
maybe a little
Twins?
crazy.
You have
Awesome.
twins?
Yeah, we're expecting twins in February.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, definitely keep us in your thoughts and prayers because we're gonna need them.
And Haley, I will try my best to follow up with Jeff Pulley, the DCS attorney, who I'm sure will be following that case so we can know the outcome, even if we can't be involved anymore. That does happen sometimes when foster parents hire private attorneys and it does move to circuit court and we have to be off the case. So yeah, I would love to see where that case is going to because I've been following it for almost 2 years. So we'll see.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And Paul, you're up.
Hey, everybody. My name is Paul Bond. Thinking about my history with CASA, before I became a CASA volunteer, I actually served on the board of Davidson County CASA from like 2010 to 2016. I used to help organize this big golf tournament that we did back in the day to raise money for CASA, which kind of got me onto the board. And then after I rolled off the board, after a few years, I decided to go through the training to become a CASA. So I don't really remember when I went through that training, to be honest with you. It was before COVID. My first case was a high school boy. This is probably right before COVID. And he ended up aging out of the system. And then currently I don't have a case, but I'm also now serving on the Tennessee CASA board, which is really devoted to supporting all the CASAs throughout the state of Tennessee and trying to open new offices in counties that don't have a CASA organization right now. And I've committed, I was asked to, and I accepted the role of vice president of the board starting in January. And I think after 2 years or 1 year of being the vice president, then I'll become the president of the board. So a lot going on there. But in the meantime, I've been trying to increase my training, learn a lot more about some of the articles and the things that Sara sends us, and looking forward to the November workshop and maybe taking on a new case down the road. So good to be here.
Thank you, Paul. Congrats.
Thanks.
And we'll go to Anna.
Hi, sorry, I had to pry the phone out of my 1-year-old's hand. I am Anna. I went through my training with Sara right before COVID. And I have a case. Here's Alistair who wants to say hello. I have a case right now that's a sibling group of 2. And parental rights have been terminated while they were, what's the word I'm trying to come up with? Surrendered. And the children are in a great foster placement until they get adopted. I'm sorry that happened. So, yeah, they are, one is medically fragile and one has been special needs and needed a lot of resources, which the school that they're at is providing a lot of, which has been amazing. So I think that's all I've got for now to share. I'll turn my video.
Thank you, Anna. And Anna does an amazing job on her case, despite the chaos that's happening. And Kaylee has a little one too, and I don't know how you guys do it, but you do a wonderful job. And I'm going to pass it to Kirk.
Coming. Can you see me?
We can hear you. We can't see you. Oh, there you are.
Oh, okay. All right, Kirk Dame. I have been with CASA for 2 years, started in the pandemic. And I'm actually wrapping up finally, maybe wrapping up my first case. Hopefully we'll go to placement with a family member.
Yeah, Kirk's case, if you ever have a family member that lives in another state that wants to take custody of the kids, it becomes wildly more complicated. So just, that's a thing. And let's see, Jocelyn, I think you're last to go.
Hello, I'm Jocelyn. I've been with CASA for about a year now. I'm still on the same case. I have a sibling group. I have 2 sisters who are both very young. They've been in care for a little over 2 years now, I think. So, and trying to get ready for court, which we have in a couple of months, and just figure out what we as a team are going to do. We are still a dual goal of reunification or adoption. The girls have been with the same placement since they've come into care, so they've had a great foster home the entire time they've been in care. So I've just been really thankful for that.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for sharing. Is there anybody that didn't go that I didn't see? I think I got everybody. This is where I open up the floor. I have some announcements that I can share about some upcoming events and things of that nature, but I would really love it if you all could bring any questions that you have, concerns that you have, anything that you just want to share about your case. This is the place to do it. We don't get together very often, but you know, collectively we have years and years of experience in this space. So I would love to hear from you all if you have anything you want to bring to the table. I see a hand and you can go ahead.
Hi, me again. I was talking with Sara earlier this month after I had a child and family team meeting, and our case, one of the things that we've come across and have been working on over the last year is drug use. The biological father has been testing positive whenever the girls first came into care. He tested positive for quite a few drugs. We have now gotten it down to just THC. And so just a question on how do y'all balance continuous positive tests when the one thing that we've talked about over and over again is stopping usage of drugs. He's managed to keep his levels of THC down. We've found that it's coming from Delta 8, which while Delta 8 is, I don't know if it's acceptable or not, but it's viewed differently because it still tests positive for THC. So I guess just like kind of the gray area and like, how have y'all managed this, or advice? Because our team has gotten to a point to where it has been brought up multiple times and it still hasn't stopped. And so I think that there is a level of impatience. And so just trying to figure out how to manage that within myself, but also within the team.
Has anyone else ever dealt with anything like this in any of their cases?
No.
I'm not, but I do have a question of, since some states it's actually legal, recreational marijuana, like I guess what's our philosophy on how much we would hold somebody accountable for something which is legal in almost half of America now? Like, is that shifting or moving? Is there any thought on that?
I don't have an answer to that, but a similar question. I mean, I know down the street from me, there's a store where you can legally buy THC products. In the state, I mean, I live in East Nashville, and they're Delta 8 and Delta 9 THC products sold legally. So that's an interesting gray area, because it's like, if it's legal, but if he's had, you know, if the goal is sobriety, period, then of course that THC showing up in his system is going to be a problem. But I just know I found out about a year ago that you can buy full spectrum THC products in Tennessee legally, and that kind of changed my thinking as to what to do with that, you know.
Yeah, I definitely think it's come up for that exact reason, like being sold as Delta 8 or Delta 9, which legally is sold here, but technically THC is still illegal. And so trying to figure out how to kind of cross that gap. I think on one hand, like the fact that he has been able to lower his levels and like keep them consistently low has been really great. Some more background info for that is that he has autoimmune diseases. And so like his usage of Delta 8 helps with hunger and pain management. And so like trying to figure out how to manage that has been difficult, because legally THC is still illegal and sobriety has been on the permanency plan. And so yeah, just something I've been trying to figure out how to navigate, which has been really weird.
Yeah, what I find is it's, you know, when you talk about it in child and family team meetings, it's discouraged because it's like, you know, it's a step on the permanency plan to remain drug-free. So the team is always going to say, be drug-free. But I think it comes, well, just from what I've seen, it comes down to the magistrate and kind of how they view the issue, and different magistrates are going to rule differently on that kind of topic. Judge Calloway is a very realistic person, and she realizes that this is kind of in the ether of, you know, our society right now, and it's not going anywhere. So she tends to be more lenient on that. But yeah, it really just comes down to the magistrate. And I think that that's something that we as CASAs can give more context to in our court reports, like you talking about the fact that this person deals with chronic pain, and that may be a factor, and the usage provides context to that. So when we present that, that might have, you know, give more kind of language to not to make excuses for it, but just to provide more context for it, I think is where CASAs can kind of come in and provide that.
Are the girls scheduled to go back with him when they come out of foster care?
Biological mom and dad are still together. In the past, it's been brought up that, you know, dad got to a point where he was like, I could leave if that means that the girls are reunited with biological mom. That still hasn't happened. And so I think while we have the dual permanency plan for reunification or adoption, I do think it is still being weighed pretty heavily amongst the team. We've gotten from going to visitation twice a month to weekly visitations. So that's been a really great step for them to be able to spend more time with the girls. We've been talking about moving to unsupervised visitation, but because of the drug use, I still think that that's been a pushback from the team.
Okay. And the mom has no problem with drugs?
Mom is tested negative on every single drug test. So really it's just been from dad as far as positive tests go.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's an issue that I think is going to continue to be gray area, problematic, and you know, adapting as time goes on. Anybody else have anything they want to share about? Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to try to figure out how to find. my PowerPoint. Bear with me. Ooh. There you are. All right, can you guys see that? Perfect. So we've done our check-in. This is just a couple of reminders about some events that we've got coming up. Every year, the juvenile court does an event called Spooktacular, where they give out candy, and Judge Calloway dresses up and lots of the court staff dress up, and it's kind of like a trunk or treat thing, and CASA will be there, and we'll be giving out candy if you guys wanted to come help out with that. It's really cute. Lots of kids come to it. You're welcome to come. The CASA Summit is on November 5th. It's an expectation that volunteers come to this. So please do plan on coming to that. It's virtual, and I'll be sending tons of email reminders about it. I've been asked to inundate you guys with that, so look for that. We've got a lunch and learn coming up on November 8th with the Family Center, and I'll be sending more details about that. I will be sending out this PowerPoint after today, so don't feel like you have to take tons of notes about any of this. And there's been a little confusion about foster care review board. That is in person when at all possible. Please do plan on going to that in person if you're able to. And I also highly recommend that you check with your FSW prior to going to that to make sure that it's actually happening, because half of the time they get canceled or they don't prepare the packet in time and it gets rescheduled. Sometimes foster parents aren't notified. So just recommend that you check with fosters, FSW before you waste a trip there. And if you're ever wondering on your case, do I have any upcoming court hearings? Is there anything happening? All you have to do is call the juvenile county clerk and have the child's date of birth handy, and they'll be able to tell you that information. Just if you're like, oh, we haven't had court for a while, just know that that's a number that you can call. This is just the Spooktacular flyer that I thought was cute, so I plunked it on there. It's from 3:30 to 6 p.m. This is the flyer that I sent you all in an email, I think a couple weeks ago, for our summit. It's going to be from on the 5th from 9 to 3. The feedback that we got last year is that you all really wanted more kind of tangible tools and less celebration of CASAs and people and loving on ourselves. So we're trying to hear you, and the way that we're doing that is by asking you guys to do a little bit of pre-work so that we have some content that we can really dig into. The theme is reunification. So there's a couple of short readings. They're not long at all, that we're asking you guys and there's a link here, and I'll be sending this in an email as well. They don't take long at all to read. And then there's this podcast, and it's about a mother who lost her children and then was reunified with them. And it's about, I think it's like 45 minutes long. It's really engaging. But as our theme is reunification, we thought that would be really important to hear someone's story firsthand. So that's what we're asking you guys to do. You can include these things in your training hours to get even more training hours for your continuing education. Just a plug for that, we are being audited by National CASA this year, and they're going to be really looking into everybody's training hours. So if I'm on your case about that and sending lots of emails, that's why, because we're going to be having to ask some people to step down if they're not able to do that continuing education. So that's not something that I love the idea of, but just know that that's why we're doing it, because we need to be able to stay CASA. Court reports. People are asking me when they need to do court reports. You can do a court report anytime you go to court, but we are requiring them for permanency plans, hearings, or trials. And I won't read this to you, but please get those to me a couple weeks before so I can proofread them. And I need to get them 5 business days beforehand to the team, because that's what it says in our MOU with the court. just a couple of reminders. When you are doing contact log entries, please utilize the monthly in-person visit with children label. We're finding that people are not really clicking on that. So please just remember to do that. And when you go into those, if you could click on every child that you are working with, not just the one, that helps us too, unless it's just a very specific thing like an IEP meeting or a doctor's visit. Otherwise, the idea is the advocacy you're doing will hopefully be impacting all of the kids, and we add up that time, and then we can go back to our board or our funders and we can say, look, our volunteers spent 3,000 hours advocating for youth this month. And that's kind of why we do that. So we've had a couple of incidences where people are bringing their dogs. So just as a reminder, please don't bring your dogs to visit with kids. It's just a liability issue unless they are a service animal and they've been certified as a service animal. That is, otherwise it's in violation with our policies and we could get sued and all that good stuff. So we love your dogs, trust me, but we just can't have them around the kids in case something were to happen. This is a training opportunity. I won't read it to you, but it's coming up on the 24th. It's building the movement to prevent trauma and foster care resilience. And again, you'll have this PowerPoint with this link. This is something that I just want to talk about briefly. I don't feel like we need to have a real philosophical discussion about this. I don't think this is really the setting to have that. But it is coming up more and more in the cases that we serve. We are working with more kids who are LGBTQ, who identify as LGBTQ youth, also foster families, parents, and also staff members within our own staff and within DCS and our partner agencies. So just real quickly, I'm going to go over this. LGBTQ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer kids. Sometimes you'll also hear the acronym LGBTQIA plus, and that's queer, intersex, asexual. There's lots of other letters I could add on to that, but those are the main ones you hear. CASA is really committed to inclusivity. It's not our job to judge kids, but rather to advocate for the youth we work with in the best ways that we can. If you are working with a youth who talks to you about questioning their own sexual or gender identity, and you're not really sure how to approach that situation, that is totally fine. We don't expect you to be the expert in this. Just please do not impose any personal beliefs you have that might not affirm their identity and their experience. Just talk to me and we will make a plan about how you can talk to the youth about it. And that goes for anything. If you're not sure how to talk to something that comes out of left field that a child says to you, and you just aren't sure how to react in that situation, it's okay to say, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm not, quite sure how to respond in this moment. Can you give me a minute to think about how to respond, and I'll come back to you and we can talk about this again? That's totally fine. But that's kind of where we are as an agency. And I just want to be real clear about that, so that kids know that they are being affirmed and that we're there at the end of the day to advocate for them no matter what, no matter how they see themselves and how they move through the world. And that is all I've got. Did you guys have any questions about any of that?
Hey, Sarah, I do have 2 questions.
Yeah.
If you are reading a book for like continuing education, how do you, how many hours does that count for? And do you just enter it in as continuing and put in there, read this book?
Yeah.
Through Optima. Okay.
Yeah. The amount of hours, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. We made a decision about this. I believe it's 4.
Okay.
That can count for. I'm telling you that. So let's say that 4 hours. If it's different
Okay.
from that, I'll let you know. I know it took me probably 20 hours to read a book, and they were like, no, we're not going to let you count for that. So, but I think it was 4. If it's different, I'll email in my, when I email the PowerPoint, I'll change that.
Okay. And then my second question, if communication doesn't seem to be reaching you, then what do you recommend? So for example, with my case specifically, like it's gone through quite a few different caseworkers. And I know a couple weeks ago you sent out, hey, we just found out about this hearing. It was like an hour before, but even before that, like it seems to be really spotty and always last minute. Is that just the nature of the beast, or do I need to like reach out to someone to make sure I'm on the correct like email lists, or I don't know, what do you recommend?
Yeah, if it's like a matter of you not knowing who your current FSW is, just let me know, because I have
Okay.
contacts that I can reach out to who are pretty reliable about sharing that with me, so that we can make sure that you're back on those team emails. But
Okay.
it's just kind of going to depend on the situation. I hate it when we find out things last minute, and I so apologize for that. But yeah, one thing you can be doing is like once a month, even you can call the county clerk and be like, do we have anything coming up? And they'll be able to tell you if there's foster care review board, or, you know, whatever, if there's a motion hearing, anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. You guys have any other questions?
The lunch and learn that you have on November the 8th, what is that again? The title?
Let me go back and look. It's with an organization called the Family Center.
Okay.
They're just going to come and present about what they do for the community.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
believe they do forensic interviews and things of that nature.
Okay.
But one of my coworkers set that up, and she'll be sending more information about it soon. Any other questions? All right, well, I billed this for an hour. We're just about at 40 minutes. So since I billed it as an hour, please feel free to count it as an hour in your continuing education. And I will be sending out the recording of this along with the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint also has the Google resources that I always share in the different categories as well. So,
Oh, that
and
reminds me, I have one more question. Sorry.
Yeah.
You had sent me like the list of and I blanked on what the name of it is. It's the new resource that we can access to utilize for continuing education sources. And it's got a really cool, like
the plate.
Yes, the plate. I tried to log in and it said my credentials, like I didn't have access to it. So is there some place that I've missed an email where like how to access that information?
We are still in the finalization stages of the plate, and we're working out some quirks. So let me get with you. We will have that done completely by the summit. We're really going to roll that out in completion because there's only 2 courses that are totally done. So that might be the issue, but I'll get with you about that.
Okay, perfect. And I'll try to remember what exactly I was trying to access to when it denied me.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem.
Sarah, when we put in this hour to our continuing education, do we pick the topic as general advocacy training or something
That's
different?
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
And feel free to enter those, like, if you've done 3 things, you can enter it as one entry and just, you know, write in the description what you've done. Don't feel like you have to do separate entries. Like, we just need those hours in there. So.
Okay. And once we hit 12, is there any need to keep, if we go over 12, any need to keep putting that in there, or just once it's 12, we're good?
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for asking about that. All right, everybody, I will give you back 19 minutes of your day. Thank you so much for being available for this. Really, really appreciate you, and we'll be talking soon. Oh, we're not going to have a team meeting for next month because we'll have the summit. So we'll resume. We may even resume back in January because December is just crazy. But I'm always available if you guys ever want to talk to me about anything, anytime. Thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.